Thank you for doing this. Thank you for taking the time. And I want to start out by saying happy belated birthday.
Thank you very much. Had a good birthday. So,
as of this morning, the Ohio Health Department website shows that we have 175,000 shots that have been given, a little over that. But you were on record just this weekend saying that the state has received 529,000. So what is the slowdown? Why have we not given all of those vaccinations so far?
Yeah, this is a little complicated. And, I'm an impatient person, so nothing ever goes as fast as I want it to go. But we started with nursing homes. And what the federal government, and the reason we started with nursing homes is over half the deaths have occurred in our nursing homes from COVID. So if we can get the people in the nursing homes protected, we know that that's going to eliminate a lot of deaths going forward. But to do that, what the federal government required us to do is to basically bank shots, not a basketball bank shot, but put in a bank, basically, shots that are kept at the manufacturer. So even though the number looks high, those numbers are really not available to us. Many of those are set aside for the second shot that's going to go into the nursing homes. A better number of what has really come into Ohio is in the neighborhood of over 300,000. So we think that we're probably getting about 65% in people's arms at this point. That's not fast enough. We should be doing better. And we're really pushing everybody from our hospitals to our pharmacy partners to get those shots out. But I think an important thing is that when people are offered the opportunity to get these shots, we would really like for them to consider doing that. Our nursing homes, for example, where we've seen most deaths, most of the residents are getting the shots. We've now completed over 60% of the first shots at nursing homes around the state. So that's going exceedingly well. What's not going well, though, is that only about 40% of the staff is taking these shots. And we know that to keep the nursing home safe, we really need a much bigger percentage of people who work in the nursing home to take the shot. Now, they're all going to have a second chance starting in the next few days to get that shot. And we would just urge them to do that.
So there are shots sitting on the shelves. I know that this is a slow process, but why is it so slow? How can it go faster?
Yeah. Well, if you really look at it, for example, we get shots in, we get the doses in every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And they go directly to hospitals, they go to health departments, and then it's incumbent upon them to get them out. And they're doing a pretty good job in getting them out. But we've asked them, for example, the hospitals, get them out in 24 hours if you can. We've asked our health departments, get them out just as quickly as you can, because a shot that is sitting on a shelf is doing no one any good. And so it's important to get them out.
A big question I keep hearing, what is the plan? And people want to know, when is it their turn? And other states have a pre-registration process or some way of notifying people when it is their turn. I can't tell you how many people have said, I want to know when I'm in line and when I can expect that shot.
Yeah, let me explain that. We started and are right now in what we call 1A. This is people in congregate care settings, nursing homes, for example. It is medical professionals who are dealing with COVID patients. It would include EMS, for example. So this is a big group of people, and we're doing well in regard to vaccinating that group of people. We're going to move in about 2 weeks to the next biggest vulnerable group, and that is basically people over 75. The vast majority of our cases come from people over 65. I think about 86% of our cases come from people, not cases, 86% of our deaths are from people over the age of 65. So if we can get that group vaccinated, we know we're going to save a huge amount of lives. So in about 2 weeks, we will be able to open this up to people over the age of 65, and people will be able to get it at a hospital, They're going to be able to get it in some cases at their own doctor. They may be able to get it at a pharmacy. And we will have, within the next week, we will have a list of where you will be able to get that vaccine if you're over the age of 75. And we will be able to give you a date, and that date is going to be about 2 weeks from now. And you will be able to either schedule an appointment to get that shot, or you can line up. We'll have some basically drive-through places, maybe at fairgrounds and other places where people will be able to get these shots. But the caution I have is we cannot control this. We only are going to be getting that week about 100,000 shots that will be able to go into the arms of people 75 years of age or older. So we know that it's going to take us a number of weeks to work our way through that group. And that's really what this slowdown is, just not enough vaccine coming into Ohio. It's not unique to Ohio. Every state is having this problem. We just don't have enough vaccine.
A lot of people are waiting to get the shot there. You just said that we still have 300,000 about sitting on the shelves. So when are we getting these vaccines? I mean, as they're sitting there, are they waiting for people in Group 1A to come forward?
No, let me explain. We have a lot of shots that we have had to bank. So when that they are literally waiting for that second shot, that the pharmaceutical companies or pharmacy companies that are putting the shots in people's arms in the nursing homes, what they are waiting to pull those down. You also have the fact that shipments come in on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and so these hospitals and others, will take the next few days after they come in to get them into people's arms. Now, we have urged the hospitals, we have urged everyone, our local health departments, try to get this turnaround just as quickly as you can. And it's coming. They're trying. They're working. But in every case, you have to schedule people or you have to line people up. And it is what we call the Group 1A, which is nursing homes. And again, that's going very, very well. We're over 60% of our nursing homes have received the first shot. But it's also EMS. So the EMS people will have to be scheduled, to come in. It is people who work in hospitals, but it also might be people who are in a health system, who are primary care doctors who are seeing dozens and dozens of patients every day. So these things all have to get scheduled, and people have to schedule them to be able to get into that.
You talked about places where the vaccine will be distributed. Do we have designated areas? Do we have enough space? Because some medical professionals here at our local hospitals in Cleveland have been concerned about having those mass vaccination areas. And do we have enough medical professionals to administer the vaccine? A lot of our hospitals have been short-staffed.
Yeah, we do. The problem is not going to be places. We've got, thousands of places that have signed up that they're willing to do it. It's not even going to be personnel to do it. The problem is we don't have enough vaccine. So that is really what's going to slow this down. And until we see more streams flowing into Ohio, and we've got two. We got Moderna and Pfizer, and they're coming into the state. We hope those numbers grow from those two, but we don't have any control over that. We hope that additional pharmaceutical companies get their drug approved, get their vaccine approved, and so that those numbers, as we move into the spring, that those numbers, we hope, will go out. But what you and I can do, and everybody in Ohio can do that's involved in this, is to make sure that we get this vaccine out as soon as we get it into Ohio. But we can't control what we get into Ohio, and that's really what the slowdown is going to be.
I want to reiterate for a lot of people, because I'm sure people are emailing you in your office. I certainly got a number of questions where people have specific conditions. A man emailed me saying, I'm 68, I have cancer, when is it my turn? I have Michelle who emailed me. She said that she's in Group 1A as a pharmacist. She's been waiting to get that alert that it's her turn. She's frustrated that we're already talking about Group 1B and when they're going to get vaccinated. is there a better timeline that we can tell people this is when you can expect a vaccine? March, April, whenever?
Big problem is just getting enough vaccine. And I understand frustration. I am frustrated, but we have to make a decision, and we did. How do we, with the finite amount of vaccine that we have, how do we protect the most lives as quickly as we can? So we made a decision to start with Group 1A. Group 1A covers people in nursing homes because that's where we're seeing most people die. It covers the staff in nursing homes because they're the ones that are, unfortunately, they bring it in. That's what happens. And it's also our medical professionals who are out there risking their lives every single day, whether it's EMS or whether it's a doctor or a nurse or someone else who works in a hospital. They need to be protected. So that's how we made the decision to do 1A. We wanted to notify people what's coming next, and 1B will be next. And what we've said, our goals with 1B is we know most of the deaths are the elderly. So we got to start vaccinating everybody who's older, whether they're in a nursing home or not. We want that 93-year-old mother-in-law that I have, or anybody else's mother-in-law who's 93. We want to get them vaccinated. They're not in nursing homes, but we want to protect them because we know if they get it, that their odds are, that's where you're seeing the high mortality. We're also going, when we go to 1B, we also have a goal of opening our schools. We have some kids who have not been in school all year. They've been doing it remote. Some kids do great remote, but some do not. And we know that, and we hear that from teachers, and we're hearing that from parents. So we want to open up for educators so that we can get kids back in school, hopefully every child in the state physically back in school by March 1. The other group that we have is we have some people who have immune system might be compromised. Let's say they're on chemotherapy for some reason, and they're under 65. So they don't come into that older category, but they're very, very much at risk. And so that group will also be in 1B. But just to give you an idea of the numbers, we have over 2 million people in 1B. And so unless this vaccine dramatically increases coming into Ohio, it is going to be some time before everybody in 1A and then everybody in 1B gets the vaccine. And that's why I cannot, in good conscience, come up with any kind of date because we don't know how much vaccine that we're going to get. What I can tell you is that in about 2 weeks, as we're at the same time we're completing the second shot on 1A, we will be able to start on 1B.
Your update yesterday said 40% of eligible nursing home staff have opted to get the vaccine. That's a lot of people who did not get the vaccine, who are working with our most vulnerable population. I'm just like you. I am waiting to get in and see my 104-year-old grandmother who did get the shot. I'm among that population. I have a loved one who hasn't seen family in nearly a year, and it takes a toll on them. Should this vaccination be mandatory for people who work in nursing homes?
Well, nursing homes can do that if they want to, if they want to make it mandatory. We have not statewide mandated the vaccine. That's not generally how we do things in Ohio with other vaccines as far as mandates. So what we hope, though, and what we believe is that as people become more educated, they find out more facts, that the number will go up. So let's talk about the nursing home. So I know that you've got some viewers who are in nursing homes right now who are watching this. If you're a resident of a nursing home, if you live there, you're going to have a second chance to get a vaccine. They're going to come through again. And if you did not get one when it came through the first time, or if you're still waiting for the first time to occur, we would urge you, this is your protection. This is the way that you can be safe in the nursing home. If you have a relative who is in a nursing home, please talk to them and ask them to take this vaccine. Over half the deaths in Ohio from COVID have occurred with residents in our nursing homes. If you work in a nursing home, please, this is your ticket to start getting your life back. And so get that shot. It helps not only protect you, but it also protects the people in the nursing homes that you're caring for every single day. And we would love for you to take a look at this. Please, when they come by and offer you the opportunity, get the shot. When they're by the second time in a nursing home, and if you work there and you've not taken the shot, and let's say you're 35 or 40 years old, I don't know when we're going to get to you again. So this is the opportunity. Please take the opportunity.
So considering all of this, the slow rollout, the slow getting in of the vaccines, and then taking a look at nursing homes where people are opting out of it, are you confident that we can get to teachers and school administrators? You mentioned getting kids back in school by March 1st. How realistic is that deadline?
Well, what we're saying is that we're going to send a letter out this week, and we're going to ask schools to sign it if they will agree to be open. Many schools are still open. They've never shut. Some have been in hybrid, but we do have schools that have not opened at all in person. And so for them to get their employees to be eligible for a shot, they're going to have to say that they're going to open up. Because the only reason we're doing this is so that these schools can, in fact, open up, because we believe that kids in school is better. We're seeing problems with mental health with children who are out of school. We're seeing kids who are already behind get further behind. So a lot of really significant consequences of not having kids in school. So you ask a good question. How confident am I that we can get this done? Look, this is aspirational. This is what our goal is. We are going to try to do that, but everything is dependent upon how much vaccine we get every week. And let me tell you how this works. On every Tuesday, the federal government tells us by the close of business, here are the numbers of vaccines, the vials, the doses that you're going to get beginning next Monday. Where do you want them sent? We then, by Thursday, go back out to our different partners who are administering these, and we tell them, you're going to get so many doses Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of next week. So we don't know until every Tuesday what next week is going to look like. And that's what makes it so, frankly, impossible for me to be able to do what I know everyone wants, and that is to put out a schedule and say, hey, if you're in this category on this date, you can get it. We can't do that in good conscience because we don't know the numbers until the federal government every week tells us what those numbers are. So all we can do is tell you broadly, we think in about 2 weeks, we're going to get to 1B. And in the next week or so, we're going to be able to tell you where you can go. If you're in Cuyahoga County or you're in Geauga County, you're in Lake County, this is where you will be able to go to get a shot. And this will be the age group. And we can tell you right now, it's going to be 70, 75 years of age of older will be where we'll go in a couple weeks.
Another big industry here in Northeast Ohio is, of course, bars and restaurants. And you reiterated that the 10 p.m. curfew will stay for our big games, the Browns game and the Ohio State game, which prompted a lot of people to ask on our social media accounts, what is the difference between people being in the bar and restaurant at 9 p.m. versus 10:01 p.m.?
Sure. Look, the whole thing we're trying to do is reduce spread. But we're also trying to allow our businesses to stay open and people to have the freedom to go there. We made a decision a while ago to put a 10 p.m. stop on the serving of alcohol in bars. And we did that, frankly, as a compromise. We had people from the Trump administration and doctors who came into Ohio and told us, looked me in the eye and said, you need to close every bar. You need to close every restaurant. And so as a compromise, we said, look, we're going to do it at 10 o'clock. And that's a compromise. So what's different between 9:30 and 10:30? Look, it's just an additional time period where people cannot wear a mask. What's inherently a problem, particularly in the winter with bars and restaurants, and it's not their fault, they're doing a good job, but people can't wear a mask. You can't chew and eat with a mask on. And we know that a mask is what is protecting people, particularly when they're inside. You know, it was one thing when bars could be outside. Now bars are inside, restaurants are inside. So it is just a matter of more hours We also know human nature, that the later the night gets, the more people are drinking. And frankly, the more the inhibitions go down and the ability to distance, that becomes much more difficult. I urge people, patronize your restaurant, patronize your bar. You can do carry out. You can take your drink home. Under Ohio law today, we passed the law that says you can get free drinks and take them home if you want to. You can do your meal and take it home. And we would urge people to do that. Watch the Buckeyes that way. Watch the Browns that way. I would love to be able to say, we're just going to open everything up. But I'm looking at a very high incidence in Ohio where we're seeing in the last 5 days a spike up again in regard to the number of people going into hospitals. A third of the people who are in ICU in the state of Ohio are there because of COVID. And these are things that are very, very dangerous. And we worry about where we're going. So we can't let down. Our ticket out of this is going to be the vaccine. That's our ticket out. And until we get the vaccine, people just need to be careful.
I have to ask you, because as a former Ohio Attorney General, what are your thoughts on President Trump's phone call to Georgia's top election official asking to find those 11,000 votes?
Well, it's hard to understand, frankly. I mean, I voted for the president. I wish he'd won. I like who he's put on the Supreme Court. I think he's done a good job. But here's where we are today as we face things, as Congress convenes to count the electoral votes. All 50 states have certified their ballots. They certified their election winner. That is done. We've seen voting of the Electoral College meeting in every state. They have already voted. The courts have been open. The Trump campaign, anybody else has had the opportunity to go into court and litigate and bring up new evidence. So, we're 2 weeks away from the inaugural. We are where we are. And so unless there's some new evidence that comes out, I think this thing needs to move forward. And I just, I don't know what really, from a constitutional basis and from a belief in federalism, that the states control their own elections, I don't know how Congress would override that. They've never done it before. Congress has never done this before, never overridden a state and changed the outcome of an election. I would not expect that to happen today.
All right. Governor, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you clarifying some of those answers for us.
Yeah, well, thank you. Can I just add one more thing?
Of course.
2021 in Ohio is going to be the year of recovery. We're coming back. The vaccine is going to allow us to do that. Our economy is going to come back. We're going to continue to focus on things that really matter. Lake Erie, for example, what we call our H2 Ohio program to deal with the algae bloom in Lake Erie. That's going to be moving forward. Again, our focus on early childhood education, early childhood development, our focus on eradicating this problem of the lead paint, for example. Another problem that we see that we continue to focus on is the disparity in regard to infant mortality between Black babies and white babies, African-American babies and white babies. So these are things that we're going to continue to focus on. We're going to focus on getting our kids the best education that they can get. We know that some kids have fallen behind because of the virus, because schools have had to be remote. We've got to really, really focus on that, and we're going to focus on that as we move forward. So this is going to be a better year, and I think people can look to the sun coming up, and things are, in fact, going to get better.
We certainly have high hopes for it. Governor, thank you again. Thank you for your time. We'll talk soon.
Thank you very much.